Hare Krishna, everyone. This is Ryan, and today I'm very happy to share some Bhakti Yoga content I feel will empower you tremendously. The primary focus of this presentation is on mantra meditation. I felt like it might be a useful topic for people, given how much stress, fear, and uncertainty is sort of in the air right now in the wake of COVID-19. Bhakti Yoga is the art, practice, and science of loving God. But it all begins with how to surrender, give ourselves back to our source, and take part in our union with our source. I think this practice right now is one of the most important practices that people can be doing given what's going on, given that a lot of us are confined. Mantra meditation is about opening up a lot of freedom and happiness that is right there within, that doesn't necessarily need to be searched for outside of ourselves. And when we're all stuck inside, that could be a really good thing. On the other hand, as you'll see in today's presentation, mantra meditation is the core practice of Bhakti Yoga. It is, in some ways, the most basic, foundational, deep practice that we have. And so it's essential Bhakti learning. So I hope you enjoy the presentation. Let's begin by talking about the word mantra. In Sanskrit, broken down, man means mind, and tra means releasing. So mantra means mind releasing. And of course, one of the famous verses in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "For one who is self-controlled, the mind is the best of friends. But for one who isn't, the mind is the worst of enemies." And a huge part of all forms of meditation is learning to bring the mind under control and helping it to find itself as a servant to the higher self. We really get into trouble when the mind tries to take over, and in some ways the false ego takes control. And we think, I am whatever I'm thinking, I am what's ever going on through my mind. And we don't always safeguard what's coming in and out of our mind, or even our speech. So mantra meditation is a form of meditation. It repeats sacred syllables, phrases, utterances that are said to come directly from the spiritual platform, from source, that are passed down through the wisdom literature of yogic tradition, the Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and so forth, and are embodied in the life and teachings of saints and avatars. So, mantra meditation is a way of meditating that is a little different from normal meditation, where you may sit and try to still and quiet the mind, breathe, take to different breathing techniques, all of which are great. But mantra meditation is a little different in that we're repeating a sacred sound. And that sacred sound is thought to basically be like a seed. It is a seed of spiritual awakening, as the sounds, syllables, they're not thought to be normal material sound. They're thought to come directly from the spiritual platform. And as such, when we plant them in our hearts and start repeating them every day, it's like planting a seed of spiritual awakening in the heart. And the daily practice of mantra meditation waters that seed, which in time awakens the soul in its natural relationship with its source. Many Bhakti scriptures also describe that there being two birds that are sitting on the same branch in the heart. One is the soul, and it's our individual essence, and then there's a super soul, and that's the divine source. And there's kind of two things we're doing with mantra meditation. We're taking the seed from the spiritual plane, like a medicine, taking it inside because we forget who we really are. And by planting it back inside the heart and watering it regularly through repetition of the mantra practice, we're growing the flower of spiritual awakening, at which point we remember, whoa, I'm a spirit soul. And oh yeah, I'm part of the divine whole. Finding that right relationship with divinity again. So that's what mantra is doing in a kind of metaphysical, philosophical standpoint. That's my best attempt at explaining it anyway. Mantra in Bhakti Yoga also has to do specifically with absorbing the mind, absorbing the body, and absorbing all of who and what we are in the names of God. So when we're repeating mantra, we're repeating the names of God. And by doing this, not only does it help to blossom open and awaken the spirit soul, but it also removes unwanted things from the heart and it purifies us as it goes along. In other words, the process of mantra meditation is not about becoming a better person, getting stuff, or anything like that. It's about awakening the soul and awakening its loving connection and personal relationship with Source, with God, with who we call Krishna in Bhakti Yoga. But along the way, it acts like a medicine, and a byproduct is that it heals us. It blesses us, and it grants us so many benefits because we grow in spiritual life. We start tapping into our natural state, which is truly happy, truly beautiful, truly knowledgeable. And as that happens, a lot of unwanted things in the heart start falling off. In the Bhagavad Gita, for example, Krishna says this, which is a good thing to remember when doing mantra meditation: that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Contrast that with another form of happiness, Krishna says, that happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. So this is a very basic distinction, and one of the reasons we tend to forget who we are. The soul is naturally looking for happiness, and as it's sojourning through the material world, the Bhakti philosophy tells us that it tends to try to locate its happiness through material senses. I'd like this, or I want that, or this thing will make me happy, or tasty food, or all the different things that'll satisfy our senses. But the problem is that those things are fleeting. They feel good at first, but over a long period of time, not so good for us. For example, lots of unhealthy food. It tastes good, but in the long-term health benefits, not so great. So in the material world, the more we try and locate our happiness in material things, the more sick we get later. Feels good at first, doesn't feel good later. Whereas contrast to the previous verse. However, when we take to spiritual things, it purifies us, which in some ways makes us more sick at the beginning or makes us feel worse. But this is why it's not necessarily easy to have a mantra meditation practice, because it's purifying us and it's kind of hard work. But as it goes along, it starts feeling better and better. And our happiness isn't ultimately related to things outside of us that we need constantly to gratify our senses in a really sort of transient, fleeting way. So the mantra that I'm going to teach you today is the mantra that we practice in Krishna Bhakti, in the tradition. Of course, there are many names of God in many different places around the world, but Krishna is the name of God in Krishna Bhakti. Krishna has many other names like Govinda, Gopal, so many, and there's also a masculine and feminine component to the divine being, to God as a personal being. So we also recognize the goddess, Radha, in Krishna Bhakti. And Radha is sort of implicit in the Hare Krishna mantra as well, and I'll explain that in a moment. So you have both the divine masculine and feminine, sort of yin and yang, if you want to call it that, contained within this mantra as well, which makes it perfectly balanced. So here's the mantra. It goes, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll repeat it once more, and you can say it along with me if you like this time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what does it mean? So Hare refers to the spiritual energy of God, and in some ways you could think of it as the divine feminine. And it's an evocative cry, like a child crying out for its mother, or like calling hallelujah. When we pair it together with Krishna, the all-attractive personality of God. Krishna basically means that one who is more attractive than a million Cupids. It has the feeling of attracting us, attracting our heart and soul. Rama is the supreme being who is the source of all pleasure and strength. In this world, we're always so fixed on who is more powerful, or who's empowered, who's disempowered. And this is not the kind of power we're talking about with Rama. We're talking about ultimate power combined with the ultimate bliss and happiness. And that's the kind of strength that we all have within us. it's a kind of strength that's happy and joyful. So Krishna is the all-attractive personality, and Rama is the supreme being who's the source of all pleasure and strength. The mantra is chanted congregationally in Bhakti Yoga, which is called Sankirtan. So if you've ever seen people playing harmoniums, playing mridangas, or anything like that, they call out Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And they'll put music to it, and they'll chant it. Everyone will call back in response. That's called Sankirtan, or Kirtan, some people refer to it as. But it's also chanted personally in private through your own bhajan, your own song, your own personal practice, and that's called japa. And in japa, we use mala beads. You chant your japa on your mala. And so again, the Hare Krishna mantra is thought to descend from the spiritual world. So it's thought to give spiritual benefit to those who even say it jokingly, because it's not a material phrase. It's a spiritual phrase. That's how we see mantra as part of bhakti faith practice, you could say. It is also said to be non-different from Krishna. So it's the sonic or sound incarnation of the divine or God. So it's a very powerful mantra that's been practiced for a very long time. And I can tell you about the benefits I've experienced from chanting it for a few weeks now. But also I'll share a bit about what some teachers have said who have been practicing it for much longer than myself. So let's go into some of the scriptures that talk about the benefit of chanting and why chanting is such an amazing thing to do for the sake of spiritual growth and progress. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the sacred bhakti scriptures, there's a verse in the first canto that goes like this: "One can attain salvation simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord." A lot of times people think obtaining enlightenment through yoga is really sophisticated and complex. But actually in bhakti, we say no, it's actually super simple. In fact, the 2 rules of Krishna bhakti, or bhakti yoga in some ways, are always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And what's the most effective way of doing that is to chant the names of Krishna, chant the names of God, and do it all the time. Do it regularly. That's kind of the gist of it according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And here's another verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam from the 12th canto. "My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. It is simply by chanting one can become free of material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom." So, and again, that's because this is thought of as a spiritual medicine, a spiritual sound incarnation of God, that when chanted has this purifying and enlightening effect over time. The hardest part in some ways is just making it a habit and showing up and doing it with all your heart. That part isn't always easy. So the actual remedy or cure for our spiritual disease in bhakti yoga is very simple. Remember God, don't forget God, and chant. As Sri Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. A simple Hare Krishna phrase. So in the Kali Santarana Upanishad, it said, "How shall we overcome the effects of Kali Yuga, the present age of quarrel and hypocrisy?" And Lord Brahma replied, "Chanting the holy names of Lord Narayan is the only means of deliverance in the age of Kali." And Lord Narayan is another name for Krishna. So it's interesting that in ancient astrology and in ancient yoga philosophy, the universe is cyclical. And it cycles through ages of darkness and light. And this age that we're in now is thought to be a rather dark age, the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. But the benefit of this age is that the means by which one can attain spiritual healing or enlightenment is simply by chanting the names of God. So in a dark age when everything's jacked, the remedy is very simple, and that's kind of one of the beautiful sides of this particular age. It's as though there's more mercy and a simpler, more direct method available. And that's the basic philosophy of bhakti. So in the Vishnu Purana, it is said, whatever is achieved by meditation in Satya Yuga, by the performance of sacrifice in Treta Yuga, and by the worship of Lord Krishna's lotus feet in Dvapara Yuga, is obtained in the age of Kali, simply by glorifying the names of Lord Keshava, which is another name for Lord Krishna. So meditation in Bhakti Yoga is thought to be very austere and difficult. Oftentimes we say that it doesn't really work for most people, and they have a hard time with it. Bringing the mind under control in silence is very hard to do, and the conditions in our world are really chaotic, and it makes it very difficult to do. Whereas we say with mantra meditation, the heart, the emotions, the senses, the body, the voice, everything can get engaged and absorbed in the trance of chanting the names of God, which for many is a lot easier. I know it was for me. It was one of my original attractions to Krishna Bhakti, but I'm not saying this in any way to trash meditation, because obviously meditation is revered in all yoga traditions. So simply by chanting the names of God, we can advance spiritually, which is kind of a plus side to living in a dark moment. The process is a little simpler. I like to think about it like this. There's so much darkness around us that if you ever lit a candle in a pitch black room, it's almost as though the candle is 10 times brighter because of how much darkness there is. So simply by calling out from the heart God to God in this age, as though the illumination is that much greater. That's a way that I've come to think about it. At any rate, let's get into some practical instructions for chanting the Maha Mantra, which I've just gone over with you. And to repeat, the mantra is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ideally, you'll use japa beads or a mala. So this is my mala. Basically, what you do is hold the beads in your hand, and on each bead, you're saying one Maha Mantra. So each bead, you're going Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then you go to the next bead, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you can get beads of all different sizes. They're not expensive. Many of them aren't expensive. Different sizes made of wood, stone, and other materials. This is a japa mala made from lava stone. It's porous, pretty porous. I got it from a local crystal shop. It had the holes in it already, and I just put some dental floss through it. So you can even get them on Amazon, and you can get a set of Tulsi beads from krishnastore.com if you'd like a nice set of like soft feeling beads, like made of wood instead. And I'm pretty sure they could come from India, or they're made by devotees as well. So as you're pulling the beads, eventually you'll get to what many call the Krishna bead, the bead at the top. And this bead is the bead that belongs to God. So we're circumambulating God, and so we don't actually use this bead to chant on. We go all the way around, and when you get to the Krishna bead, you turn around and you go back the way you came. And when you get to the other side, you turn back and go around again the way you came. So that would mean that you're doing multiple rounds. So not everyone may be ready to do multiple rounds, because there's 108 beads per mala, which means there's 108 mantras per round. So for some people, that's going to be too much to go beyond just one round in the beginning, but you want to try and make it at least one round. Try and start by doing 108. That's one round of Maha Mantra at the start of your day when you first rise. That's something I try to do every day. Reading some Bhakti Yoga scriptures, then chanting your rounds is a great way to begin your day. People who are actually aspiring to be disciples and devote their lives to Bhakti Yoga, the minimum they vow to do is 16 rounds per day, which for most people will take somewhere between 1.5 to 2 hours. And so the commitment will go up in time if you become more serious about it. Currently, I'm committed to 10 rounds when I wake up, but it didn't start like that for me. I started with 2 rounds, then went up to 4, then experimented with 16, but it was inconsistent and I was having trouble enunciating. So a friend who's been a Bhakti yogi for many, many years suggested I stick to a realistic number and chant that number every day. So the past week I've been doing a minimum of 10 every morning, and it's been really working. So it's important to note that the number of rounds you do is not a competition. It's just what makes sense for you to start with and advance according to your own feelings. Even if it's just 1 in the morning and maybe 1 at night before you go to bed, maybe 1 in the morning, maybe sometime in the afternoon, and 1 in the evening. But just 1 round per day is a great place to start in planting the seed and you're starting to water it. Speaking of water. So if you stick with it, it'll grow and you'll naturally want to chant more. Another set of practical instructions is to sit in a comfortable position. It's not an austere thing. It's not an austere practice where you're sitting and learning to become like a level 10 ninja or something. So just sit comfortably. It doesn't matter if you're in a chair, if you have your back up against something. You don't have to take any kind of fancy posture. Just sit comfortably. Not falling asleep, not lazy, attentive, but comfortable. And some people actually enjoy walking slowly and mindfully while chanting, as long as there aren't disruptions, traffic, noise, people stopping to talk to you, and, you can walk a little bit. So in the beginning, 1 full round of 108 mantras may take up to 10 minutes. Keep a good rhythm. It's said that a decently paced round should take about 6 to 8 minutes. So it's totally normal in the beginning if it's like 10 or 12 minutes per round, because you're getting used to enunciating the syllables and the words clearly and loudly enough so you can hear your own voice ringing out. And so that's one thing about mantra meditation that's really, really important. It's not a practice that's meant to be done whispering. It's said to be harder on your vocal cords if you whisper, and it's not meant to be done in your head. So you do need a space where you can chant out loud and you can hear yourself chant, because one of the main ways we get benefit of the mantra meditation is to absorb ourselves in the sound of ourselves chanting. So we're hearing ourselves chanting. It's very, very important. It's not like a mechanical thing. So here's some deeper instructions for chanting. One is to call out from the heart when we chant. Put your emotions into it when you chant, whatever you're feeling. Chanting works best when we become absorbed in hearing as we're chanting with emotional conviction. I don't always have that every day, although I practice every day. Some days I don't have it. But when I put my heart into it, I am present and I hear myself chanting. It's amazing. So there's a prayerful way of calling out. We're chanting a mantra, but we can still pray in the way that we chant. Thoughts are coming into the mind, but pour those thoughts into the way that we call out to God in the mantra, and it makes a huge difference. Another simple instruction is to ask God, Krishna, Source, to be helped with our mantra meditation. Literally just ask, can you help me be more absorbed in this? Can you help me enter more deeply into the beauty of the mantra? Can you help me develop love and devotion? Can you help me grow spiritually? So if we're feeling dead or tired or whatever, I'm tired, will you help me? I don't like this, I'm sorry, will you help me? Whatever we're feeling, we can put it into the way that we chant. It's the kind of honesty and sincerity that no matter what we have to say, we put it into our chanting, calling out to God. It has a way of purifying us and opens up a channel of communication with Source. And I think that's what we all want. So in Bhakti, it's a big deal. Your emotions are not to be gotten rid of. Bhakti is really about developing divine emotions or spiritual emotions. It's not about getting rid of emotions or thoughts or anything like that. It's about cleansing them and dovetailing them back into our relationship with divinity. So think of chanting also as an offering. Every day of our lives, we're dealing with so much stuff that has to do with us. Naturally, I'm not condemning that. But what's going on with me? What's going on with my body? What's going on with my spouse, my relationships, my kids, my jobs, my parents, whatever. And there's a lot of self-focus. So self-focus is probably the best description of the problem we're all suffering from the standpoint of Bhakti Yoga. So in order to get out of the suffering experience and access the happy, innocent bliss that is inherent in who we are, that is inherent in the divinity that we're a part of, it really helps to step outside of ourselves so we think of our mantra as an offering. Every mantra we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is for you, this is from my heart to you. It's not about me. It's not about what I want. It's not about my problems. Let me just step outside of that and just give it up to the most amazing realization that I exist. How incredible is that I exist? Thank you, Krishna. So in every mantra, just trying to give it up to God as an offering. Although I say this very enthusiastically, my enthusiasm now is not matched by my practice, because when I practice, I really stink at it. And then there's times when I really do hit that note. So when we step outside of ourselves and step into the role of serving and loving others, especially God, that's when we really start to get healing. That's when we really start to awaken the natural part of us that is inherently happy and blissful. So thinking of chanting as an offering is a way of taking mantra meditation to the next level. Sometimes you start it and you feel like you're reciting words that are foreign and you don't know what they mean. So some of these tips could really help you. You can even keep a prayer journal and record some insights you received during or after your mantra. You don't want to get stuck on insights though, as they can disrupt the flow of the mantra, but it can be nice to keep a prayer journal and write the insights down afterwards, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that when people surrender themselves unto me, I give them the knowledge which they may come closer to me. So part of the process of mantra meditation is we're receiving instructions on how to deepen our mantra meditation, or how to deepen our spiritual life, our spiritual focus in life. So, and that will be given to us in all different kinds of areas in our lives, little insights or pointers. So keep track of your realizations, but safeguard them as well. We're really quick to share our realizations with others, like casting a pearl in front of people that may not receive it. So like I might get some weird responses to this video. So keep some of the realizations a secret to even yourself, because even the ego can start thinking, oh, look at the realizations I got. Some of these realizations are gems, so treasure them. Another good instruction is to keep the vibration going. There's so many things we can do during our day to keep the environment pure while keeping the vibration of the mantra present. So you can listen to Kirtan. If you YouTube Hare Krishna Kirtan, there's tons of great Krishna Kirtan out there where you can hear the Maha Mantra being recited in musical form. Just have that in your environment. The mantra keeps going and it's like, you're continuing to water that seed. Similarly, just chant throughout the day. Safeguard what comes into your ears, because the mantra will help you establish a nice wave pattern that keeps you moving along the spiritual path with the spiritual currents that are helping you to evolve. Over time, the mantra will give you more insight on how to keep these vibrations going throughout your day. And finally, I'm not one to speak about any great realizations in Bhakti Yoga, but I feel enthusiastic enough to do this video. It's made that much of a difference in my life, so I can tell you a few things that I've noticed in my own life and why you may find it practically beneficial with respect to the spiritual healing that comes with this practice. Many great teachers of the Bhakti tradition say that if you devote yourself to the practice of calling out to God through mantra meditation over a long period of time, we develop loving devotion in our very being. We become more loving, more devoted, humble, and saintly in a sense. Even though I've only been chanting for a few weeks, the better qualities in me as a person, as a friend, as a family member, have grown exponentially since I started chanting and making it a daily part of my life. As I've started opening my heart up and remembering who I am, I'm feeling reciprocation from Krishna in the heart, and I've just naturally started to see that, and I can be the best person I think I am, the better version of myself. A lot of times in this world, people will preach a gospel that describes bliss as unobtainable perfection. So you should just embrace your craziest, most indulgent, wildest self. But in my mind, mantra meditation proves that kind of thinking absolutely wrong, because what it shows us is that you can be the best version of yourself. You can be loving. You can be kind. You can be patient. You can be pure of heart. You can be pure of mind. You can be pure of body. And in not some kind of perfectionist, idolized, I'm so great kind of way, but in a humble way. You can feel the best of yourself. You can feel the highest version of yourself. So it doesn't matter just because we think, nice spiritual thoughts, or because we go do a yoga class once in a while, although those things are nice. In my experience, the best thing about mantra meditation done daily, regularly, while pouring some kind of devotion into it, is that we can really start to see that the better parts of ourselves will start to step forward, and the blocks in the heart that keep us, limited will fall off. It's really such a medicine. So I personally wouldn't be so absorbed in this if it didn't act like a medicine for me, in my heart and soul. And I say that as someone also who, prior to Bhakti Yoga, sought healing through numerous psychedelic plant medicines and forms of meditation, such as Vipassana and Shaolin Kung Fu and Wu Tai Chi. I've communed with some of the most powerful plant medicines on earth, and I've never received insights and ecstasy like that in which I obtained from chanting the holy names of God. In many ways, these medicines led me to yoga, and I don't consider it a competition between yoga and psychedelics. I am not denouncing plant medicines and their usefulness in any way, but I will say that nothing in my life has compared to daily mantra meditation, not even the world's most powerful psychedelic plant medicines. It is cleansing in a way that nothing else can really be, because to get the benefits, you have to show up and put your heart into it. And for me, that's awakened the best in me. I've become a better version of myself. So that's my testimony. In terms of what you might find, it valuable. But I will say that it's hard work. It's something that we have to pour ourselves into every day. And as Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutras, any real yoga, real linking or union between the soul and divinity comes due to regular practice that's consistent, that's devoted and earnest, that comes from the heart over a long period of time, uninterrupted. So in my opinion, there's no better time than right now to start mantra meditation. It's an easy practice of surrender. You can do 1 round of your beads per day at the start of your day. And if you water the seed every day and do your best to keep up with it in time, it'll start growing into that flower of devotion, and spiritual awakening does take place. So with that in mind, why don't we chant a few beads to close? I'm going to give you a pace that might work for you for chanting, but find your own pace. Just make sure you're clearly enunciating the words, that you can really hear yourself, and that you get nice and absorbed. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I hope that you find joy and comfort in mantra meditation. I hope that you're able to reap the rewards of the practice and stick with it. Believe in yourself, you can do it. it's a beautiful practice. Please, if you have any stories about your personal practice or questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my ability or direct you towards helpful Bhakti resources. So this concludes today's presentation. Hare Krishna, everyone.